Hey everybody, I just wanted to do a little bit of a follow-up on my civilians that I'm going to be using for the Marvel Universe miniatures game and how I made out with them. As well, this is a little bit of a follow-up review on the Preiser 150 scale miniatures that I actually ended up using for them, and I actually ended up getting more since then because I was quite happy with them, so I'll show you a little bit of the larger box set that they come in as well. So here I just have a little bit of a quick diorama I threw up just to showcase them. I am really happy with the clear bases that I chose to put them on. These were 15mm size bases, and yeah, like I actually find that they look really good on the board for the most part. I quite like them. I know that some folks have issues with the clear acrylic bases. One being that you can get a look of the hazing for crazy glue when you put it on them. And then also, when you look at them at various angles, the cut of the acrylic does reflect light differently. What you might see here is a little bit of a dark band here, and then in some cases at a different angle it could be that you don't notice anything on the top, but that you might see a bit of a light band if you're shooting at perhaps a higher angle. I find that they're really less obtrusive than other bases in certain scenarios that you might want that, and this being one of them. In general, like you might, I'm just looking through the viewfinder here, you might see something a little bit different, but in general when you look at these two here, they're not invisible by any means, but they do a pretty good job in my mind of making the figures blend into the environment a little bit better. So now, some people really like to paint and make wargaming bases, and this is a wargaming channel. I realize it's not a diorama sort of channel per se. And so, by all means, I mean, I agree, there's a place for everything, and I like to make bases too. But I am still very happy with my choice to do these. I didn't do them with the superhero characters for the Marvel Universe game. They're still on regular bases. I could in the future switch to them. I don't know, I'd have to think about that. I've already sort of went down the road with my initial ones with regular wargaming bases, so I've really left my heroes on a traditional base, and I'm only doing this with civilians. I'll show a couple of the characters a little closer. This one I ended up doing a all denim outfit. If you remember, as a bit of a rehash here for those of you that might not have seen the first part of this, and I'll put a link to my first video reviewing these in the description. I'm doing these as sort of a retro look for my city, and so these are essentially meant to be like 70s, 1960s, and so for those of you that were around at that time, people actually did do this where they actually wore all denim sometimes, or just denim pant, jacket or whatever. But there were people that were just in all denim outfit at times, believe it or not. And yeah, I can just show a couple others here. So I have like this woman here. Now I did try to vary the skin tones throughout these miniatures. I actually used 3 primary shades of skin tone. So I did a typical lighter color, a typical darker color, and then what I would consider to be more of an olive color for the skin tones. This one was more the olive color, my attempt at it at least, that I just showed here. Now, just knock this other one down here. This one here would be my standard color. So a bit of an orangey look depending on the lighting. A little bit darker, but not a dark Caucasian skin tone, but just a little bit darker. And then I have the lighter color. This is a darker one as well. For the lighter color, I believe it would have been Let's see. Well, I already showed her, but this would be really the difference. Between these two. It's not that much actually in translation. A little bit. You might be able to see it there. It's a little bit darker of a shade, but not that much. So, in general, I'll do a little bit of a close-up just at all the folks standing there, just so you can get an impression of the miniatures. So, I was, like I said, pretty happy with these. I think they're going to do the trick really well. And what I'll do is I'll show you the next set that I've gotten and just some of the differences and aspects to the set if you're interested in them. Okay, I'll be right back. So I've already opened this box, and one of the things I'll say right off the bat is it's meant to be 60 miniatures that you get. You do get, at least in my box, 10 doubles. And so you get 50 individual miniatures and 10 or 2 sprues, or I should say 12 doubles, because they come in sprues of 6, and you get 2 sprues that are repeats of ones that are prior. I also did get some that came off the sprue in the box, which isn't, you know, that surprising, because they're not attached that strongly on the sprue. But I'll just show some of the ones I've gotten. There were some that I was quite pleased with, where others which I was just sort of ho-hum on. So this sprue here is one that I noticed right up front, is that you get one sprue that are just completely sitting, which I really thought was cool, because I do want some variety, and I could easily put some folks on park benches. You do also in some cases have arms, hats, and bags that you end up having to glue on in this set. Not so much in the 12 pack that I had purchased that you're looking at. This one here is kind of nice because you get actually a I believe it's a police officer. You definitely get like a municipal civil, you know, like, or a government worker. It's either like a police officer or something else. I'd have to look really close, but I thought that was kind of cool. Then you get some folks in suits and dressed up nice. Now, the 12 that I'd purchased before came on sprues that were 6 and 6, all female, all male, where these are interspersed. And so it's not necessarily like all male, all female. Although in some of them there definitely are themes, like as you saw the ones that were sitting down. And you also get some really differences in height disparity, which I kind of like. They're not all the same height. Now this guy here I believe is the biggest from the set. But if you actually put him next to some of the others, like this one here, there clearly are differences. She's also walking, which is kind of cool. It's not everybody just standing waiting at the bus stop, which was more of the case in the ones that I've gotten so far. They were all standing. There are a lot more in this set that are actually in motion, walking. There are some that I believe are even just dancing. I'll show those in a moment. But I do like the character of them. As far as quality, I believe that the quality is fairly similar to the ones that I showed and did the close-up review. I think there's just still a lot of detail, which is very cool. Now, given that this was sort of, in some ways, this particular sprue is one that I really was hoping for, is that it's sort of just all a sprue of businessmen for the most part. Although this guy here looks like he could be a bit of a bouncer. If you look at him, he's sort of folding his arms and he's looking not too happy. If you can catch his features, they're all white, so it's kind of hard. But a lot of them are just businessmen walking around. And here's some with arms, like I mentioned. So given that this is really supposed to be like downtown Manhattan, I'm going to paint a lot of these up in blue suits, dark blue suits, and like they're your typical stockbrokers, like, you know, on the way to work. Because I really want to create a scene be able to create scenes for my downtown Manhattan that look like Manhattan a bit more. And and so that's very cool. Now, this is one of the ones I believe I got doubles on. You get a bag with this one. I wasn't really quite sure if that's supposed to go in his hand. I'm not really sure. It looks like you could use it without the bag, but again, mixed between male and female, young and old in this case. You have a guy with sort of a cane next to a younger guy, dressed in sort of loose clothing. And actually, like, in some cases, rather than just sort of the regular sweater and jeans, which a lot of them have, this one here, she has like a bit of carrying a bag with a nice jacket on over a dress. So it's kind of nice to add the variety. This is my favorite sprue just because I didn't really expect it. I knew there was some more diversity in this particular box. I noticed when looking at it quickly that there was sort of an African-American guy on here, but this actually sprue is really nice because it's 3 couples of different sort of ethnicity, which is the only one in the set you get like this, but you know what, I'll take it. It's good, like, just to throw in 6 folks, you know, just as you saw, I tried to vary skin tones a little bit already. So this is sort of an African couple, and she has a bit of a, like a headwear on that would reflect that, and you have a Sikh sort of couple here, and then you have what I believe to be an Asian couple as well, and so it's kind of nice. So here's another one. Looks like just gentlemen and females just walking around. And this was interesting. This looked like, I have one that's, it's not missing here. He's in the bottom of the box. He's one of the ones that came loose. But I have a guy that, they're all sort of in, I don't know if they're sort of in work shirts or if they're supposed to be leather jackets. They could be like kind of, this could go back to 50s, sort of like greasers. I think I have the other one here. But they could almost be kind of like gang types or hoodlums or something if you wanted them to. And then these are the 2 doubles that I received, which I think I've already shown these. The guy with the cane, there's one that's double. Now, I could easily paint these up a little bit differently just to add more folks and even make a crowd out of this and use it as a crowd. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment, my plans on how I'm going to base the rest of them. But yeah, I'm pleased with these. Like, I've really liked them. They're not expensive, but I paid about roughly with delivery and everything, about $50 Canadian for the 60 of these. When you think of it that way, it's less than $1 a miniature you're painting, which is really cheap. But at the same time, they're plastic miniatures, mass-produced, and, you know, like, I don't know. I think overall, actually, it's a pretty good deal. I talked about the quality in the other video. I'll let you click the link to see these style of minis a little bit more up close, and you can determine whether you like them for your purposes and the quality. Now, as far as like how I'm going to base the rest, I still have quite a few of the individual bases here, but definitely not 60. And so for some, I will definitely put them on the single bases. But I have the option, I talked about this before, is I have, these are, I believe, 50mm clear acrylic bases that I was thinking I might do a crowd on. 1 or 2 crowds where I could probably get 6 or 7 walking, you know, sort of in a, like, down like a sidewalk or something. But then for couples, or even probably mostly couples, but potentially even 3, I have 30mm that I bought for my heroes that I'm not using right now, and I thought I could actually put 2 or 3 on here as well, and that would actually look good. I'm interested in what your thoughts are on that, but I thought just doing a bit of a mixture of all of them would be kind of cool. So yeah, overall, quite pleased with the Preiser miniatures for these purposes. And if interested, check them out. I've got them on eBay, but they're also sold through various other websites online. Take care.